Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriet Cole. So very happy to be with you today. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. This is a time when we come together with the sole purpose of accessing inspiration, of accessing something that will stir us inside to help prompt us to move forward with greater energy, focus, and purpose. And what a way to start the day. Or even if you're not doing it at the beginning of your day, what a way to engage whenever you need that little lift, when you believe that being engaged in the flow of positive energy is going to enhance your life, is going to make you sharper, clearer, more focused on whatever your goals are. This is your moment to be in that space, to fellowship with others, and to choose you, to choose putting yourself in the great flow of light and inspiration. And today, as we have now entered the season of spring, I was thinking, just paying attention to, what many people are going through. More people are walking outside, get to notice how people are being in space because it's different. We've had 2 years of primarily being at home. So being outside, being, among the blossoming trees and flowers and plants, it's just a beautiful thing to see. And as I look at people's faces and the ways in which they are engaging others, that feels kind of like a blossoming in and of itself, of a sense of renewal. And this is what spring is considered, a time of renewal, of rebirth, of possibility. As we think of this time of possibility, it is also a time when many people talk about what they call spring cleaning, time of purging, of letting go of things that do not serve you anymore. Often, especially in traditional families, and traditional, I mean, where mama's in charge, um, in charge of the household anyway, there is time allocated, set aside for spring cleaning, for purging, for for identifying those things that for one season and putting them away for another, and letting go of things that no longer serve you. I thought it would be a great time for us to think about this concept of purging, of making this your moment, your time to purge the stuff that no longer serves you, the people that no longer serve you, relationships, engagements. What in your life no longer serves you? Ask yourself that question. What in your life no longer serves you? Now, I don't care how Maria Kondo you might be. She's the one who wrote that now iconic book, The Art of Tidying Up. No matter how uh, austere you might be, there is still something you can let go of. And I want to venture to say that many people who spent 2 years at home were not doing the big purge. They were cocooning and being in their spaces and sometimes reorganizing their spaces, but not necessarily the big purge. because there wasn't even somebody to come pick stuff up, right? So, how do you fit into the space of a big purge for your life? Have you started it? Have you started your spring cleaning for the season because you're one of those people who grew up in a household that did that and now you do it yourself? Are you one of those people? Are you someone who's been thinking about it? Are you someone who steps over a pile and says, oh, I'll get to that another time? Are you someone who pays hundreds and thousands of dollars a month and a year for storage for things that you may not have looked at for a long time? Where do you fit on the spectrum? If you do an honest assessment of yourself and you tell yourself, where do you fit in terms of having very little to purge and a tremendous amount of things, people, experiences, relationships to purge? Where do you fit? Do you have very little, somewhat, a fair amount, or a tremendous amount? Do you feel overburdened with things that you need to purge? You don't have to tell me, tell yourself. Where do you fit? And if, like most people, you have a lot of stuff that you would do best by getting rid of, where are you on the spectrum of doing something about it? Do you think about it? Do you attempt it and then it's just too hard to move to the next step? Do you go through papers and say, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with these? Do you look at things that you treasure and say, oh, I can't get rid of that or that? Do you hold on to relationships that no longer serve you, but you have had them for so long that you feel like they're meant to be in your life? You can't possibly extricate yourself from those things. Who are you in this space? I really want you to be honest with yourself. If you are like most people, so this is important for you to understand. If you hold on to a lot, stuff, people, experiences, memories, you're normal. It's what people do. But does it mean that it has to be what you do? No, but I think the notion that you're not alone, that there's nothing wrong with you if you're one of those people who holds on to stuff, that can help to take away whatever shame or concern or uh, feeling that you are less than because you haven't been able to control this part of your life. That can help that go away. Because whenever we feel shame or negativity about our behavior, it can be crippling. Because then we go, oh, if I face it, then I really have to look at all the things that haven't worked right. And very often when people find themselves in that position, they just shut down and do nothing. Well, that's the opposite of what we want to do here. We want to tackle this experience that is helpful for most of us, tackle in our heads the idea that it is positive to purge, and then take on the purge, which requires some organization and structure. At least I believe it does, because when if you just say, I'm going to do this, how do you get started? Sometimes it can feel overwhelming because you have so much to do. So let's go to the quote that I found. You know, I always like to find quotes to help us along. Here's one from John Robbins. It says, in the never-ending battle between order and chaos, clutter sides with chaos every time. Anything that you possess that does not add to your life or your happiness eventually becomes a burden. Let me share that with you again. Listen closely. This is from John Robbins, from a book entitled The New Good Life, Living Better Than Ever in an Age of Less. Here's what he says. In the never-ending battle between order and chaos, clutter sides with chaos every time. Anything that you possess that does not add to your life or your happiness eventually becomes a burden. Okay, let's break this down. There are a few key things in this very intentional statement. There's this notion of a never-ending battle, not a battle that, oh, you fight the battle and it's over. John Robbins says, that the battle is never ending, in the never ending battle between order and chaos. So it's always there. The battle between order and chaos is ongoing, never ending. That means you can't check a box and say, I did it, and then it's done. Think about it. Think about the world of nature. So if you have a lawn, I live in New York City. I don't have a lawn now, but I grew up with the lawn. If you don't cut the lawn, then soon there becomes chaos because the grass grows very tall, weeds fill the yard, and suddenly this whatever your version of a pristine cut grass, cut lawn is, turns into wildlife. You know, wild grasses, wild weeds, flowers, whatever the bugs and birds pollinate the yard with, that's what ends up being there. Order and chaos. The order is when you rake the lawn, when you mow the lawn, when you remove the weeds, and you tend to it so that whatever is in that lawn, in that backyard, in that planter, whatever it is there because you want it to be there. It's intentional. If you don't pay attention to it, it is whatever nature and the moment and where you happen to be, whatever they decide are going to be there. Order and chaos. Do you see that? And by the way, chaos for you may not be chaos for somebody else. So it's just really what is true for you. So in the never-ending battle between order and chaos, clutter sides with chaos every time. Think about that. Think about your life. When things are organized, it's easier for you to move through life on a clear path, for you to not get distracted by things that are standing in your way, for you not to trip over things that are standing in your way, both literally and metaphorically. If your path is clear because you have cleared it and you tend to it and it remains clear, what happens? You're able to see further ahead. You're able to predict things about your life and your future because you've mapped it out and cleared a path to get to that destination. If your path is overgrown with weeds and stuff, then it's harder for you to see. Do you understand how that could be? Yeah. So John Robbins says anything that you possess that does not add to your life or happiness. Think about anything at all that you possess that does not add to your life or your happiness eventually becomes a burden. That's powerful. So a lot of times we hold on to things because we think we might need them later. Well, I don't want to get rid of that because I could use that later, or my family could use that later. Somebody could use that later. I want to hold on to this because perhaps it's going to be valuable at another time. And a stylist friend of mine was telling me how at one point, and this was about a lot of things, it was about spending money unwisely and then the possessions that came of that, and having a very full wardrobe of shoes. And at this particular time, having a very empty wallet. He said, wouldn't it be great if I could eat my shoes? So the shoes were there, but they were not serving him anymore. I think we talked about potentially selling those shoes because if even some of them could be sold, at least there could be a solution to that problem. Now, when you look back, you go, well, how did you get the shoes in the first place? And then examining one's behavior to figure out how to break patterns that do not serve you is certainly very important in this process of eliminating clutter, of purging. And in the moment, when you recognize, oh, I need to purge because these things that I have are not serving me, sometimes you can find value in them by sharing them with others. This is one of the philosophies that Maria Kondo talks about, where she suggests that as you go about purging in your space, when you come upon an item, an object, you honor it and thank it for serving you in your life and recognize when it doesn't serve you anymore, you offer it to someone else who may be able to use it or not. And that offering sometimes can come with a reward. Sometimes, like my friend with the shoes, maybe you can sell some shoes and they can pay for a meal. And then it's important in the whole process of purging to determine how to purge the behavior that got you there in the first place. What have you done? What has occurred in your life to get you where you are today? And what do you need to do in order to turn the page? What do you need to do in order to clear the path? Ask yourself that question. What do you need to do? What is standing in your way right now of the clarity that will help to guide your steps? And this notion of purging exists to help you with that. If you let go of any and everything that isn't serving you anymore, what do you have left? You have what you need. Or you have an understanding of what you need. Because sometimes we got so much stuff around us that we don't even have the capability of recognizing what we actually need. Does that ever happen to you? Think about the people in your life. My mother used to say, if you have a handful of friends or less, that's enough friends to have. If you find yourself balancing a huge number of people that you call your close friends, you're probably close to too many people. And you need to evaluate those relationships to determine, do all of those people deserve a seat at your inner table? And when you do that, when you evaluate each person based upon your values, your principles, your time, your ability to engage with others, who gets a seat at the table then? So if you think about purging in terms of relationships, I know that can feel difficult, can feel harsh. But aren't you worth it? Aren't you worth it? If you were able, I want you to envision this. Envision the most beautiful table, dining table. It could be the table in your home, or it could be the table in your fantasy home, the home of your future. What does that table look like? What's the shape of the table? How many seats are at this table? Really, look at the table in your mind's eye. See the table. See how many seats are there. Place chairs in front of each area on the table where you would have someone sit. And now set the table beautifully. Are you using a tablecloth, placemats? What type of flatware are you using? Napkins, glasses? Do you have flowers on the table? How are you adorning this table to make it the most beautiful table that you can set, so that the people you invite to join you at that table are thrilled? They feel honored that they've been invited. And when they arrive, they see, oh, what a gorgeous table. They took so much time in making this a welcoming space. Do you see your table? Can you hold that table in your mind's eye right now? I want you to see it. The material of the table, the way it is set, the chairs that are surrounding the table, where you will sit. How many seats are at the table? Now, there could be 2 seats, 4 seats, 6 seats, 12 seats, 20 seats. They're all sizes of tables. How many seats are at your table? Now, as you envision your table and the seats at your table, I want you now to think about the people you love the most, the people you want to be in your company. Who will you invite to join you at this table for a very, very special meal? Who will you invite? And go through your list of loved ones closely. Maybe as we're thinking about this, you can close your eyes if you want. Go through your list of loved ones and envision, who would you like to sit at that table? Who would you like to engage at this very special meal that you're curating with loved ones who, by the way, you think would enjoy each other? Who deserves to be at your table? And as you're contemplating people, one by one, and you're thinking of people who deserve to be in your inner circle, who's coming up where you go, oh, not that one. Mm-mm. I don't think I want to invite that one. And then for a moment, you step away from your table and make an evaluation of the person who's in question. Why do you have that thought? Why wouldn't you want to invite that one? What did that person do, say? What experience have you had? What about that person means that perhaps that person should be purged from your inner circle? I know that sounds harsh. However, it's a fair thought. Who does not deserve to be at your inner table? It doesn't mean that you kick them off the bridge and they're never in your life anymore, or it might. But who doesn't deserve to be in your inner circle? As you go through your list of people, more than likely the people who are coming forth in your awareness are people that you regularly are engaged with. People, who do you talk to the most? Who are the people that who are the knee-jerk people you call on the phone in between moments during your day, that you call in the evening, that you spend time with on the weekends? Who are those people? Do you really care about those people, and do they really care about you? Are they friends, acquaintances, close by convenience? And I ask this question because I have been through this. I had to purge a couple of people, not from my life entirely, well, one, but before the complete purge, there was I have let you into my inner circle and you don't deserve to be there. Our engagements have been hurtful to me because the way that you talk to me, the way that you react to me when I'm in tender moments makes me uncomfortable. Therefore, you don't get to be in the space of my life when tender moments are revealed because you don't know how to tend to me the way I appreciate. It took me a long time to figure out that I had agency over that. That, some call me too sensitive. Okay, maybe I am. But my inner circle can include people who are aware of my sensitivities and who honor that and who are kind to me in sensitive moments. So I had to cut some folks out of the inner circle who weren't really honoring that. And I didn't feel bad about it. What happened before I did it, however, is I made the mistake of blaming them for being unkind to me. And when I looked back and reflected on my experiences over time with one person in particular, I realized this person had acted like this the whole time. My problem was I expected the person to behave differently. I expected this person to grow to love me and to alter their behavior so that they would tend to me better. Do people generally change? No. And so I had to accept my responsibility in that, which was this person's not going to change. Therefore, this person doesn't get to be in the inner circle. We still have a relationship, but it's not an inner circle relationship. And guess what? My feelings don't get hurt anymore. And that person probably doesn't get frustrated with me because we engage differently over sensitive things. That was a purge, not a complete purge, but a purge out of the inner circle. I give examples because I think when you hear examples, it can help you to recognize choices that you can make that are conscious choices that can help you to have a happier life. And so this notion of now being a time to purge, especially as it relates to people, evaluate each of the people that you believe you're close to before you invite them to this beautiful table that you have set, which, by the way, is going to have the most exquisite, healthy, delicious, heart and soul satisfying food. Before you invite them to take a seat, make sure they deserve to be there. Go through your list of loved ones. Do not invite anybody to the table out of obligation. Well, it doesn't even matter if it's a family member. Well, that's my mother. That's my sibling. That's my uncle. That's my boss. That's my childhood friend. That's my potential business partner. Or that is my business partner. Regardless of the relationships, the definition of the relationships that you have with these people, that is not what I'm asking you about now. What I'm asking you to do now is evaluate the relationship based upon you, what you care about, what you need, and the way that you are treated by that person. Does that person deserve to be at your inner table? And if not, you can have another table. Here's the table for associates. Here's the table for people you like and you can have fun with. Here's the table where you talk to people about political issues. Here's the table where you talk about the environment. You can have a lot of different tables and set them beautifully too. It's not that you neglect the tables that are not the inner circle table. What it means is that you are conscious and intentional about who sits at what table. I promise you, if you do this exercise seriously, your life is going to become so much happier because you will know, okay, at my inner table, well, maybe, now when you think about it like this, is that a table of 20 really? Or is it more like a table of 3 or 4 or 2? How many deserve to be at that inner table? And when you think of the other tables that you want to set, because you have purged folks from the inner circle table, but that doesn't mean that they're gone. So what table would be their table? What table would be the table for those few or many people that you have uninvited in your conscious awareness from your inner circle? And what would be the right table for them? And then you design that table. And then, by the way, literally, if you have gatherings, whether they are virtual gatherings or in-person gatherings, you create opportunities for people to engage who, at least in your awareness, belong at these particular tables. And then sometimes, if it's a bigger engagement, it's an eclectic group, a mix. But that mix is not the inner circle table. I hope you see what I'm getting at. You have the ability to be in control of what you choose to have in your life. When you purge and let go of the things, the people, the memories, the experiences that no longer serve you, or no longer serve you in the way that they had served you, what happens? You experience freedom. You see a clear path because you excavated the path. You made it possible to see clear because of the choices and the actions that you took. And then, with a deep breath and a sigh of relief and comfort, you can then design experiences for yourself and engagements for yourself that will be satisfying for you and others. It takes a lot of work. Purging is not easy. But boy, oh boy, is it worth it. And so I invite you to accept that this can be your time to purge right now. So let's do it right now together. And I look forward to hearing how you do it. Until next time, Have a great day and make it count. Namaste.